I will now move on to industrial use of water. And Mr. Swapnil Potdar from Era Water has been innovating on decentralized circular water systems. So Swapnil ji, how can industries become water stewards and not just users? What are the most practical reuse or recharge models you've seen that also benefit nearby communities?
Okay. Sure. Thanks for involving me in this panel. Rather than speaking, I have short visuals of how these solutions, industry is often seen as the prime culprit of damaging the ecosystem. But I must say the industry has warmed up very fast and very well, and sustainability is front and center of industries. In fact, board meetings have sustainability heads involved now.
Right.
That is the impact of sustainability in a short duration.
We have a few of us joining sustainability heads online, yes.
Right. So it is very important, and they are going right from the source to the end user, and even after the discharge, water is taken care of. So I'll just show quick visuals of how that has happened.
Sure.
Yeah, this is a place that I come from. The river on the right had gone dry, and you could literally walk the river bank without even having to use a boat. So as I said, since industry has warmed up, there are different mechanisms put in place like policies, new compliances, where a revenue of any industry is linked to water consumption. And they have to bring down water consumption as the revenue increases. There are different compliances. There is also a mandate of corporate social responsibility that an industry is liable to enhance the use of natural resources within the local geography that they are in. So this is a river which was like this 4 years ago. It's always pleasant to have a situation like this, from scarcity to abundance. So I'll show you a case study of an industry where it did not have enough water to even complete its construction, and how that industry within 6 years transformed a place like this, which was a scrapyard, into what you will see now. Can someone please play the link on the video? It's playing. So this area was in a drought zone where the annual rainfall is very less, and one gentleman pointed out that it's not only a case of flash floods, but there are also flash droughts, where there is sudden dip in water that the local geography is not able to sustain. And this was once a farmland, which is now converted into an industry. We implemented a different sort of project where we recharged groundwater. We augmented the groundwater table by up to 80%. And over the span of 7 years, the moisture levels in that very same terrain enhanced. You could literally touch the groundwater during monsoons or even post-monsoons. And the company went a step ahead and they planted a micro forest in that area. So earlier, which was a scrapyard like this, is now a lush green micro forest within a small industry. They not only scored high on the sustainability index, but they also augmented water levels within their local community. So this is a very good transformation. These transformations are very difficult to bring about in a community setup where bringing everyone together is difficult. But here, industries, they have dedicated water leaders or dedicated water managers who take ownership of such projects. This is another project where downstream flooding was an issue. It was on a hilltop where during monsoons the company would not have enough water, and whenever it rained, because of the steep gradient, the water would flood downstream village. So after multiple different surveys, aerial, topographical, hydrogeological, we identified that we could make a water body which will not only serve as a source of fresh water, but it can also act as a buffer or balancing reservoir during extreme rainfalls. Usually, water bodies like these are formed by meteoric showers or tectonic plate movements. So we tried to replicate that, NBS, where it comes from. So we retained the natural strata as is. We designed the capacity in a way that it can cater to a large quantum of runoff. And since the water was carrying a lot of contaminants, we proactively installed a automated aeration system. So once the oxygen content of water is high, I believe that water has a tendency to heal itself. And once the system was in action, you can notice the water was turbid. It had a typical odor. But over a span of a year and a half or 2, the water quality started to enhance. And birds started to come in. So once there is water, ecology starts to repair itself. And now it holds 55,000 cubic meters of water, and this is within an industry premise. The industry went a step further. Since stagnant water bodies are susceptible to algae growth, the quality of water tends to go bad if it is not attended. They had it's like an asset to them. They had a self-supporting roof installed over it so that air can pass through it, but there is no algae formation within that water body. And this is in the peak month of summer where it holds water in itself. You can even see the bottom of that water body. And last one, like Mr. Madhuji, he said that our forts, they have sustained a lifespan of 500 years, 1,000 years. Likewise, India has a heritage of stepwells, which are as old as 1,000 years, 2,000 years. There are some stepwells, they look like they were built yesterday. But this is one such case where it was a small pond which was serving water to a local community, and it was about 50 years old. They manually built a well around it so that they could use that water around the year. But because of demanding infrastructure, it was in such a condition. You will see a transformation of that. Again, an industry owned up this project where they wanted to bring it back to life. And more often than not, it is dumped with plastic, it is dumped with sewage, contaminants. You would not even want to touch that water. So it was a very sensitive project. At the same time, it was critical because we had to take care of the structural integrity also. It took us months. We had to dredge out all the debris, unwanted material from it, bucket by bucket. And to our surprise, all the pores or all the groundwater streams that were feeding water to the source, they had gotten clogged up, choked up, and it had pretty much gone dead. It took trucks to take out the debris out of here. And slowly, the groundwater streams, they started to revive. And in fact, this is in the middle of a creek and a hill range where there were natural streams flowing from the hill range to the creek. Flamingos, migratory birds come to that creek. So this is a part of the larger ecosystem. So this is like treating water as a patient, and you need to take care of water. You need to treat the water like a doctor. You can visually see the groundwater streams coming back to life. This is a very rare visual that you can see. And gradually, over 6 months, the water source, which was earlier like this, now holds clear blue water. You'd be amazed to see the quality difference in the water quality. Earlier it was this, and now it is as clear as this. Well, this is on a micro scale where an industry took it up within a small geography, but this can be scaled up to a level where this can go on a large scale. We can take up different water sources. It could be a groundwater source or a river, or a flowing rivulet maybe. Even those can be done up. And all these success stories or all these projects that we are trying to collate, they are acting as a motivation to others because very few are aware. Everyone knows that we need to do something, but very few are aware what is to be done. So such documentation or such case studies are motivating these industries to take up more and more of such projects. Industries are even going beyond their own premise and taking up such projects within the watersheds. So once industries collaborate like a cluster and they go out of their premise to do such projects, then it will have a true effect in that entire geography, is what we have learned from our experience. So that's about it. I was well under 7 minutes.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Swapnil ji. So when the private sector takes responsibility and uses the science that nature teaches us, we can see what wonders can happen. I'm sure the audience will have a lot of interesting questions, follow-up questions to that.
Okay, my question is to Swapnil. When you were showing the plantation, I was wondering that how fast the trees are growing, because if it grows faster, you know, they will be absorbing the water more. The groundwater will be going. Just looking at the trees doesn't mean anything. So there was no time frame for that. So I didn't know if they are really indigenous species or not, if they are invaded or something like that. And the second question was when you were showing about the dug wells, doing the cleaning of those. I didn't see any stakeholders engagement over there. So how did you came up with the selection of that site? Why it looks like that it was used to be a big dug well which is abandoned for later on. So I just that's I had for you.
Nice questions. Yeah.
I'm glad we have a very curious audience. I'll try to finish in 30 seconds. First, the microforest that you saw, it was a timeline of 7 years crammed into a 1-minute video. And the species were planted by the local botanists, which can sustain on low water, and their roots don't go as deep. They sustain without having to be watered around the year. I think that's the second. About the dugwell site, it was earlier a village which was later converted into an industrial premise, and that industry took up, and the industry also supports the community which not lost that land, but they have given up that land, but that water source served them around the year. So that industry picked it up by themselves under SDG 6, goal number 6, that we want to help the community around us. And that's where they reached out to us how we could revive it. It was a small stream of water which was then converted into a dug well 40, 50 years ago. And because of infrastructure, it had gone bad. And today it is serving the community around. I hope I answered within 30 seconds.
Thank you to all our panelists who answered the question. Shamima.